NTA2Lagos Network Center.
NTA2Lagos Network Center brings you broadcast service wherever and whenever through our social media platforms, now live on just a click away. Global news, sports, business reports, politics, issues, events and happenings around the world, your favorite past and present TV programs, drama, documentaries, and for your news headlines, log on to www.youtube.com/NTA2Lagos. Watch, download, comment, and subscribe free. It's simply www.NTA2Lagos and explore our world of news and events. Available in all smartphones, iPads, and all Android phones. Like our Facebook page, NTA2Lagos Network Center. You can tweet us at NTA2LNC. NTA2Lagos Network Center, your reach out station.
Nigerians, our fearless and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets.
And it's thanks to the Nigerian police, after the deed was done anyways, who now was able to uncover the cartel, the network of these things. So what CBN have done is perhaps to reduce risks. And it's not just 100,000. It's such that when you want to use USSD for an amount that is more than 20,000, your personal password token will be required for you to put such information before you can have access to such account. So in a way, indirectly, the limit for which you can operate your phone to have financial transaction on phone without having any form of security at all is 20,000 naira. But when it goes beyond 20,000 naira, then you will need security for you to access your phone, but the limit remains 100,000 naira.
Let's talk about the issue of this security. The society we live in is modern, and you need the technology, you need the internet. Don't we have additional security without necessarily the one you use on your phone? Shouldn't the banks have put in place things to protect their customers against such?
Yes, I agree with you, but as of today, I know you have access to other platforms such as online banking, mobile app banking. Some banks you can use 2 million, some banks you can extend your 2 million naira to about 20 million naira. In some cases, some banks have limited it to 5 million naira. So, but what I think this policy, this new instruction is targeting is, if you don't want to use online bank, that is, somebody can just pick your phone at random, press a code, and money is out. It should not be more than 20,000 naira.
Let me come in here. That withdrawal, that transfer, electronic transfer of 20,000, it says it requires a PIN and a soft token.
What is up to that and above?
More than that?
You see, to be careful, because I have actually reported the case of a client whose money was stolen by 1,450,000 to Economic and Financial Commission. It was EFCC that uncovered almost the same thing that happened. You know, when EFCC studied the case, they discover what was happening, because my client was already accusing the bank of stealing his money. But eventually, due to carelessness of some sort, we realized that somebody at one point or the other has picked his phone and has made away with his money. So for people to be safe, if you want to do up to 100,000, you will need security. What I would have said is, even the one with security should have been more than 100,000, maybe 500,000, knowing the value of our money. Because if you convert 100,000 to the US value, to the dollar, and what you can easily access fund in the market is really, really very low. However, CBN being an institution that I'm sure that will respond to change and demand of the people, study the atmosphere, and in the coming period, I believe, if need be, the institution will pick it up from there.
To an extent, Nigeria is trying to catch up in terms of technology, particularly the advanced technology. Are we ripe for embracing technology in dealing with sensitive financial information?
Already we are trying to do that. Countries such as Rwanda, you can get loan even by pressing some buttons on your phone. And also Kenya is also one of the countries in that. Those two countries in East Africa are doing wonderfully well when it comes to electronic banking. Nigeria seems to be embracing that. However, because you know, where you have good people, fortunately, unfortunately, there are bad people. What I think from what CBN has come up with is that there are too many frauds that have been committed on people's phones, and not just phones, other devices that people have used to steal people's money. So what this is saying is that the risk that people should be exposed to should not be more than 20,000 in absolute term, but in relative term, it should not be more than 100,000. If you want to do 200,000 naira transaction, 101, which I think is a little bit small, I think it could be expanded. If you want to do 1 million and all of that, you may now need a mobile app. And you know the good news, you don't need a sophisticated phone, you don't need an Android phone to use USSD. You can use your regular small phone that don't have internet, that is not that don't have internet enablement for you to do transaction. That's the point of the point of making use of USSD. But if you now want to do higher transaction, you may now need a phone that you could download your bank app or go to your bank website, operate, make financial transaction, in some cases up to 5 million, some 10, some 20 million.
For the banking customer that feels, I don't need this, is there an option not to use it?
Of course. Another thing is that people right now, even if you have started a transaction, you can opt out, which is what you'll be saying. A lot of this is starting by June, which is what you now, or like when you have started, your money could be debited. Your money could go, and you are also calling banks for refund or for reversal and all of that. But you will not get to a point, at every point in time, based on the circular that has been made available recently, you can now opt out of such transaction.
Would you say the use of smartphones, for instance, on those who are not too knowledgeable on the intrigues of how these phones work, or the level of technology, or the level of their education, has a factor in some of these issues? Not necessarily that there's fraud involved, but maybe they are getting some things wrong. So enlightenment, where is that?
I agree totally with you that it is possible. It is not just possible, it is the truth that some persons don't know how to use the Android phone. I agree totally with you. So in the rural community, what people will perhaps use for financial transaction will be phones that are not internet, that don't have internet enablement for them to run such transaction. So in such places, I think what is the angle Central Bank is also considering is that they may not need that much volume for that kind of transaction. For instance, somebody who farms somewhere and also wants to buy maybe fertilizers, or want to buy a recharge card on his phone and all of that, may not need up to 200,000, may not need up to 300,000. But you see, as the society develops, we are now having some persons who understands that the living standard in the urban centers may not be that efficient, so they are migrating. And the truth is that, as someone who has also done research, been to different places, been to different states, been to different communities, there are a lot of places in Nigeria. I can tell you, in some states, the state that when you hear, you say, no, it's not possible, that they don't even have banking presence. One of the north central states, 9 of the local government don't have a single bank, back to back, not one bank, not even a microfinance bank. So what do you expect those people to work with? They don't want to, you don't want them to be exposed to liquid cash. You are saying, we are preaching on one side that we don't have liquidity of money so much that of people are able to track all transactions. But if you limit them and they want to buy a refrigerator that is 300,000 naira, that means they will pay 100,000 first day, pay 100,000 the second day, pay 100,000 the third day. In the long run, what's the way forward? Well, the way forward will be perhaps to call some stakeholders. People will make use of this application at the end of the day, and the bank representative, and perhaps have a forum where they can get feedback from the people and see what will be best suit all stakeholders. All stakeholders, watch out. So your last word to the Nigerian customer who patronizes banks, well, in terms of security. Yes, well, June is the set date. A number of persons have genuinely lost their money. Some are out of ignorance lost their money. Some because they cannot use their phone, they've lost their money. I would advise first banks to provide education for their use, for their customers. Two, also for customers to do everything possible to learn how to make use of bank applications, also make use how to run a transaction on their phones. And this is what I told a grandmother some times ago. She was looking for how to use. I said, Mama, try to send 1 naira first. You know, the risk of 1 naira is small. If the person on the other end gets it correctly, repeat it with the actual amount that you want to do. Then you see that you've not lost so much.
Many thanks, Paul Alaje, a financial expert. It's been a pleasure talking to you on Business Express
Thank
today.
you so very much for having me.
Now, moving on. How are major currencies around the world performing? Let's take a look. The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Dr. Maikanti Baru, says the corporation aims to make Nigerian Petroleum Development Company the #1 in exploration and production. Dr. Baru, while noting that the company is on a growth path and its processes and procedures are fully in line to ensure that it delivers on its mandate set by NNPC, added that NNPC production level was significantly growing and would soon hit the 500,000 barrel per day target from its present 230 barrels per day, which would almost place it at par with the highest producers in the country. Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, is one of the upstream subsidiaries of NNPC. Now, the world projected that oil prices would average $65 a barrel in 2020.
Welcome. Good to have you join us on NTA Nationwide. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. President Muhammadu Buhari says no matter what anybody thinks, the governing All Progressives Congress has lived up to expectation in placing Nigeria on the path to sustainable future and prosperity. Speaking at a state banquet organized in his honor in Bauchi, the president gave reasons for not joining issues with authors of letters written against his administration. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has that.
President Muhammadu Buhari was emphatic that given the circumstances inherited from the misrule of the past, his administration has not failed the nation.
I'm very happy with the performance of our party, the All Progressive Congress. When a letter was written portraying our failure as an administration, my press chap came that he should reply. I say no. I say no for two reasons. One, he is much than the person who wrote the letter and myself. Two, he came from the same constituency with the person who wrote the letter. But when Lai Mohammed came, Lai Mohammed, okay, is from Kwara. I said he should go away. He said he is not going. I said, why? He said, let me give him a chance to explain what he wanted to do. I said, okay, go on. He said, what he would do, he would not mention names. He would only try to remind Nigerians where the country was when we came in, where we are in now, and what we